Hello, and thanks for joining us here on Reporters. This week, we hit the streets of South Africa, among the most dangerous in the world, with 50 murders a day. And that does not include, of course, the numerous carjackings, robberies and drug deals that are huge problems for the communities that live there. With tens of thousands of visitors expected for the World Cup, the country's reputation is now at stake. Police forces, private security firms have all been preparing for this very moment for the last few months. On the streets of Capetown, however, it's a group of unarmed volunteers, many of them women, who are going out at night to tackle that criminality. Their name, the Guardian Angels. Eva Gilliam, Caroline Dumais and Stefan Carsons followed the Red Berets on their crusade.
On the eve of the Soccer World Cup, the South African police have adopted American tactics. Dramatic music accompanies their maneuvers through the streets in a country that counts over 50 murders a day. They've also linked up with the South African branch of the Guardian Angels. Police have joined forces with volunteers to fight against crime. Tonight they've come to the Cape suburbs in a sign of solidarity. Solidarity with this man whose wife was murdered in an armed robbery 2 years ago. Since then, the neighborhood commemorates the anniversary of her death by lighting candles, a symbolic homage to South Africa's crime victims.
Crime is high, but I think that we as citizens are also to blame for that, because what we do is we criticize and we criticize and we criticize, but we do nothing about it.
Dare to care, that's the motto of the Guardian Angels. This civilian organization was created in New York in the 80s, and it now watches the streets of the Western Cape. They don't carry weapons. They train hard.
Good, next.
Their leader is Charles, a former South African policeman who trained in the U.S. 5 years ago, he brought the Angels to South Africa, supervising men and women from all backgrounds.
We need to get our communities involved. We need to get our young people taught to also take responsibility. And we wanted something that was going to be able to make a difference in the high violent society that we have, and yet would still be safe, and would make it interesting for young people.
And what really draws them the most is the training.
So there's two ways I get this arm over. What's the one? Okay, comes nice and easy. When I come in behind him, this first bit does this. Okay, when he feels that, I put that in there. See how I bring him down to my height? Because I don't want to be fighting a giant up there.
Mark's self-defense program is specially adapted for this unarmed group. The martial arts specialist works throughout the world and has even trained the Brazilian forces. In South Africa, he adapts the skills for local customs. Here, there are more deaths by knives than by firearms.
This was actually given to me by Charles. They took this off someone, so the teams who train.
Interesting weapon, this. And it's just pieces of washer and magnets and locks and things like that. So what you would do with someone is you would be whacking him on short range with this, and you've got complete control over it.
And there we are, we mentioned that one. You can see your regular gang signs, which we're all familiar with. You see it there, they personalize their weapons as they go. Handcuffs, things out of scissors. I don't think any of this is very new to you, is it? So there we go. Their role isn't confrontational. Even though we are practicing an arrest procedure, and they have applied them in the street quite a few times over the last 5 or 6 years with great success. But their whole job is eyes and ears in the community and a liaison with the law enforcement departments.
To do this, they carry out regular night patrols. For this group of Guardian Angels, predominantly women, night patrols provoke all kinds of responses, even being at the receiving end of rocks and other objects.
They were violent one day with us, but we don't retaliate. We just do what we're supposed to do because we know the police will be our backup.
Working alongside the police, that's the secret to success for these volunteers who mostly deal with drugs and prostitution.
I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 rand. You can come and collect it at the police station. Okay?
Tick, a mix of amphetamines that costs next to nothing, less than €1 per fix, is a plague hitting South Africa's youth. Here, where everyone knows each other, these volunteers can be highly effective.
Elizabeth, I spoke to you for your grandfather now the other day about your life. You need help?
No, auntie, but I can help myself.
You can't help yourself.
Ik moet je niet helpen.
Moet je me keer helpen? Je is vastgevangen, meisje.
Ik heb mij ingebracht, ik kan mezelf
We know there's lots of drugs, and we know also our police do many raids. I tell you, there's more raids than has ever happened in our communities now.
With the World Cup looming, the vice is tightening and raids are carried out on a regular basis. Tick, mandrax, crack, heroin or cocaine, the Cape has become a worrying platform for various and sundry substances. Angels can sometimes be informers to help the police. They grew up in the ghettos. They understand the problems only too well. Derek is an ex-addict. He's tried everything. Today, he displays his Guardian Angels uniform with pride. It's his red beret, he says, that helped him get out from under the drugs.
This is my official Guardian Angels jacket. I waited 3 years to get this jacket. This is my beret, and then I've got these 2 balls at the back here. Now, these 2 balls are for the 2 arrests that I made.
Even after making 2 drug-related arrests, if you ask Derek what motivates crime in South Africa, he will tell you that poverty is to blame.
If you look at how much they're earning in Khayelitsha or Gugulethu or those places, you'll find one guy is driving a BMW. The next guy is living in a shack with nothing but a pot and a piece of cardboard for a bed. The living conditions there is atrocious. It's worse than a concentration camp.
Just a few kilometers away in Gugulethu, there are no angels. Violence in this township happens on a daily basis. Murder and rape perpetrated by family, friends, or neighbors. Predominantly domestic violence that fills crime statistics. Far from the stadiums or hotels, these are victims that tourists will never see. Millicent was raped once before. In 2002, a group of 10 men gang raped her. On a Saturday night last April, she was raped again by a neighbor she saw every day.
So he grabbed the cigarette. In a way, he was trying to get her attention.
We arrived the day after the rape. The entire neighborhood was traumatized. Her neighbor's sister had also experienced a violent rape by this same man. The women of this neighborhood deep inside Gugulethu waited for hours for the police to help, and they are furious.
People are dying. They don't do nothing. We call for them, and they don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. 2 hours. I can go now. My husband can even help me now. I go to the police. They say you must come tomorrow. For what good reason? People are dying in our streets. Last week there's a guy who died here. He never came.
In South Africa, there's 1 policeman for every 3,000 inhabitants. The ratio should be more like 1 for every 300. The police, already suffering from insufficient numbers, are busy in and around the stadiums. Here they train hard to fight the eventual hooligans who could interrupt the Soccer World Cup.